Robb Stark never lost a battle. Not one. He beat the Lannisters at Whispering Wood. He beat them at the camps. He captured the most dangerous man in the war without losing a fight to do it. Military historians in Westeros would have called him one of the great commanders of his generation. And none of it mattered. Because the war Robb Stark actually needed to win wasn't fought on any battlefield. And by the time he figured that out, it was already too late. If you're new here, this is Mereth Tales. We go beyond what happened and into why it happened. Subscribe and hit the bell, because today's story ends at the Twins, and it starts somewhere you'd never expect. It starts with a promise. Let's go back to the beginning. Robb Stark rides south not for conquest, not for a throne, but for one reason. His father is a prisoner in King's Landing, and Robb intends to bring him home. That's the whole plan. Rescue Ned. Nothing more ambitious than that. To make it happen, he needs an army bigger than the North can raise alone. And the fastest way to get one is Walder Frey, a bitter, calculating old lord who controls the only crossing over the Green Fork for 100 miles in either direction. Without the Twins, Robb's army is stuck. With them, he can move. Walder Frey names his price. A marriage. Robb, or one of his men, weds one of Frey's daughters. In exchange, Frey opens the crossing and commits his soldiers to the cause. Robb agrees. He doesn't think twice about it. Why would he? It's a transaction, a political marriage in exchange for military necessity, exactly the kind of cold, practical bargain that keeps a war machine running. Robb shakes on it, crosses the river, and rides off to fight the war he actually cares about. He has no idea what he's just built, or how easily it can collapse. Here's what happens next, and it's the hinge the entire story turns on. Ned dies. Executed in King's Landing before Robb's army ever reaches him. Think about what that does to a 19-year-old boy who marched south specifically to save his father, and arrives too late by weeks. The rescue mission is gone. There's nothing left to rescue. And in its place, something more dangerous fills the space. A war that's no longer about bringing someone home. It's about vengeance. It's about a kingdom. Robb's bannermen, furious and grieving alongside him, do something no one planned for. They proclaim him king in the North. Now ask yourself something. A king doesn't need Walder Frey's daughter the way a desperate lord's son once did. A king has options. A king has leverage. And somewhere in that shift, crown replacing rescue mission, the marriage pact that once felt like smart, necessary politics starts to feel like something else entirely. An old debt, owed to a man Robb barely respects. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, Robb is doing exactly what he does best. Whispering Wood. He splits his forces, uses the terrain, and catches Jaime Lannister's army completely unprepared in the dark. Jaime, the Kingslayer, one of the most feared fighters in Westeros, is captured without ever seeing the attack coming. The camps. He does it again. Different tactics, same result. Another Lannister force broken. By every measure that matters on a map, Robb Stark is winning. He's outmaneuvering seasoned commanders twice his age. His bannermen call him the Young Wolf, and the name spreads through Westeros like a warning. But here's what a battlefield can't tell you. It can't tell you that somewhere in a war tent, far from any front line, a boy who's never been in love before is about to meet a woman who changes everything. Her name is Talisa, a healer, tending to wounded soldiers in the aftermath of battle after battle. And what happens between them isn't political. It isn't calculated. For possibly the first time in Robb's entire life, something happens that has nothing to do with strategy at all. He falls in love. And here's where you need to understand exactly who Robb Stark is, underneath the crown and the victories. He's Ned Stark's son, raised on the same values, the same instinct that honor matters more than convenience, the same belief that you don't use people as instruments, even when the game demands it. Robb looks at the choice in front of him: marry Talisa for love, or marry a Frey daughter he's never met for a bridge he's already crossed. And he makes his father's choice. He marries for love. He breaks the pact. And here's the part that should terrify you if you understand anything about how Westeros actually works. Robb doesn't just make a personal choice, he insults the one man whose entire self-worth is built on being taken seriously. Walder Frey has spent his whole life being mocked, overlooked, married 8 times, just to build a dynasty nobody respects. And the one moment he finally had real leverage, a king who needed his bridge, his soldiers, his daughter. Robb Stark looked at that leverage and decided love mattered more. To Robb, it's a personal decision. To Walder Frey, it's the single greatest humiliation of his entire life. Robb tries to fix it. He offers his uncle Edmure Tully as a replacement groom, marry a different Frey daughter, honor part of the agreement, smooth things over. And Frey outwardly accepts. He smiles. He hosts a wedding. He welcomes Robb's mother, Robb's wife, Robb's bannermen into his hall under every guest right tradition in Westeros considers sacred. And then he murders all of them. The Red Wedding isn't really about a broken marriage contract. It's about humiliation that curdled into something that could only be answered with blood. Frey doesn't want an apology. He wants Robb Stark to understand, in the last seconds of his life, that a man everyone dismissed as a joke just ended a king. So let's go back to the question this video opened with. Robb Stark won every battle he ever fought. Whispering Wood, the camps, every tactical engagement, every maneuver, every moment that required a soldier's instincts. He was better than anyone gave him credit for. And it didn't matter, because the war that actually killed him wasn't fought with swords. It was fought in a decision made in a tent, between a boy and the woman he loved, weighed against a debt he thought he could simply walk away from. Here's what makes this different from his father's mistake, even though the pattern rhymes. Ned died because he extended mercy to someone who had no use for it. Robb died because he extended his father's exact code, honor over convenience, love over calculation, into a world that required him to be someone he fundamentally wasn't. Ned couldn't be ruthless. Robb couldn't be transactional. Different flaws, same family, same outcome. And here's the detail that makes it genuinely tragic, rather than just inevitable. Robb wasn't wrong to fall in love. He wasn't wrong to refuse to treat Talisa as a bargaining chip instead of a person. In almost any other story, that choice makes him the hero. In this one, it makes him a corpse at a wedding feast, with his mother's throat cut beside him and his pregnant wife stabbed in the stomach before either of them understood what was happening. There's a version of this story where Robb marries the Frey girl, keeps the bridge intact, never falls for Talisa or falls for her and walks away anyway, the way a colder, more calculating king would have. In that version, the twins are just a crossing point, a minor lord nobody remembers. Robb goes on winning battles, possibly wins the whole war, possibly sits a throne his father never wanted for him. But Robb Stark was never built for that version. He was built to be exactly what he was, brilliant on a battlefield, and completely unwilling to treat the people he loved as pieces on a board. That made him one of the greatest tactical minds Westeros ever produced. It also made him easy to humiliate and impossible to forgive. The tragedy of Robb Stark isn't that he made a mistake, it's that the mistake was the same thing that made him good. He couldn't win every war the way he won every battle, because winning the political war would have required him to become someone his father raised him not to be. He chose love over leverage, and Walder Frey made sure that choice was the last one he ever got to make. Ned gave mercy to the wrong person. Robb gave his heart to the right one, at exactly the wrong moment, to exactly the wrong man's daughter he never married. Two Starks, two different mistakes, the same family, unraveling one honorable decision at a time. Cersei Lannister made choices too. 3 lies specifically that changed the entire trajectory of the war. That story is next. If this breakdown changed how you see Robb Stark, subscribe now